There is a moment in the Torah portion Tavo that's easy to miss. After all the drama of the first fruits ceremony, the blessings and the curses, and the powerful imagery of the two mountains, Moses pauses to describe the essence of our relationship with God. It says, "You have declared today that Adonai is your God, and Adonai has declared today that you are his treasured people, Am Segulah, as he promised you, and that you are to keep all his commandments." This is Deuteronomy chapter 26, verses 17 and 18. The Torah is telling us who we are. We are Am Segulah, God's treasured, precious people. But what does that really mean? In its original context, Am Segulah is about a covenantal relationship. Moses says to the Israelites, this isn't just about following rules. It's about mutual commitment. You declare that God is your one and only God, and God declares that you are his unique, beloved people. The Hebrew segulah comes from the root meaning something like a treasure or a jewel. A segulah isn't valuable just because it's rare. It's valuable because of the relationship between the owner and the object. Think of a family heirloom. To anyone else, it can be an old piece of jewelry, even a tchotchke. Perhaps it's not something out of the ordinary, but to you, it's priceless. Why? Because it tells your story. God sees Israel that way. We are not perfect. We're not the strongest or most powerful nation, but we are chosen to be God's living testimony in the world. Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch explained, being a treasured people doesn't mean privilege. It means responsibility. Just as a precious item must be guarded and used carefully, so too Israel must live carefully, with holiness and ethical purpose, to bring God's presence into the world. The rabbis wrestled with this idea. On one hand, being God's chosen people can easily sound arrogant, like we think we're better than everyone else. The rabbis push back a little bit against this reading. In the Midrash, the rabbinic exegesis, God compares the world to a treasure chest filled with beautiful, diverse coins. The coins are valuable not because they're identical, but because each one is unique. Similarly, the world is filled with many nations, each with its own gifts and purposes. Israel's role is simply different: to be a people who live visibly by Torah values, justice, compassion, and truth. Pirkei Avot teaches that beloved is humanity created in the image of God. Beloved are Israel, called children of God. Notice the order. All humanity is beloved, sacred, and created in God's image. But Israel has a special calling to live out that universal truth through Torah. The rabbis understood Am Segulah not as superiority, but as service. We are chosen to serve as a model, a living example of what a just and holy society can look like. It's about obligation, not entitlement. Fast forward to today. In our interconnected global village, what does it mean to call ourselves God's treasured people? Some hear the language of chosenness and cringe. It feels outdated or even dangerous. We live in a time when exclusivity and nationalism can easily turn into violence and hatred. We don't want to see ourselves as better than others, and we shouldn't. But maybe Am Segulah can be reclaimed in a way that speaks to the 21st century. It is not about being better than others, but about being accountable to something greater than ourselves. It's not about separating from the world, but about serving the world by living out Torah values of justice and compassion and human dignity. Think of it like this. When someone says, that's my most treasured possession, they don't mean it's hidden away in a vault. They mean they take care of it, use it with love, and let it shine. To be Am Segula is to be God's instrument for healing the world, visible and active in the public square. It means showing up, standing up for the hungry, for the oppressed, for the stranger, for the widows and the orphans, and for the earth itself. It means living in a way that makes people say, that's what holiness looks like. We have just started Selichot this past weekend, the period of penitential prayers, and we step into a sacred drama building to the high holidays. Just as the Israelites in Tavo stood before God and declared their covenant, we have done the same. Selichot asks us to examine, are we living up to our role as Am Segula? Are our communities shining like a treasured jewel, or are we neglected our covenant and live in apathy? When we recite Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum Vechanun, God, God, full of mercy and compassion, we are echoing God's own declaration of mercy and love. It is a moment of mutual choice. We choose God again and again, saying, you are our God, and we hope to hear in return God's whisper, you are my treasured people. Selichot is the beginning of that renewal. It's about continuing to try to be the people we are meant to be. Not perfect, but striving and accountable. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs once wrote, to be chosen does not mean to be favored. It means to be charged with a responsibility. To be a Jew is to be asked to take responsibility for the moral state of the world. And as one of my favorite rabbis, Stanley Lieber, also known as Stan Lee, said, with great power comes great responsibility. The Torah flips this on its head. It teaches the opposite. With great responsibility comes great power. When we commit ourselves to the covenant, to justice, to compassion, to mitzvot, to the commandments, we discover a deeper strength, the power to transform and to bring blessings into the world. That is what it means to be an Am Segula. That is our destiny. As we are now in this sacred season of high holidays, may we embrace that responsibility with courage and joy. May our lives reflect the light of Torah so that when the world looked at us, they see a treasure, not for our sake alone, but for the sake of all humanity. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May it be God's will.